Okay, you are just not gonna believe this figure. $16.6 billion.
Billion. With a B.
Exactly. Vanished last year because of online scams. That's a 33% jump from the year before.
It's truly, well, it's a staggering amount.
It really is. I mean,
Yeah.
that number alone, it just makes you stop and think, what on earth is happening online?
It really speaks to a fundamental shift, doesn't it? The
Mm.
more we do online, the more doors we sort of inadvertently open for these criminals.
Right. Like our money, our social lives, our work. So much is digital now.
Exactly. That whole digital footprint we leave, it's basically, a bigger playground for scammers. More ways in.
Yeah. It feels like we built this amazing online world, but maybe forgot to lock all the doors. And this number, the $16.6 billion, it's straight from the FBI's latest Internet Crime Complaint Center report, the IC3 report.
Right, the IC3.
So that's our mission for this deep dive. Unpack this report, try and figure out, what's driving this huge increase and what kind of scams are hitting people the hardest.
And it's so important for everyone listening because we're all online, right? Clicking, browsing.
All the time.
Yeah. So understanding the landscape, knowing what these threats actually look like, that's really step one for staying safer.
Totally agree. Sometimes it feels overwhelming, like you need a PhD in cybersecurity just to check your email.
Huh? Yeah, it can feel that way.
But this report, it does lay things out pretty clearly. And the human cost. Wow. Over 250,000 people reported losing money.
250,000 reported. We'll get back to that.
Good point. And the average loss per person, over $19,000.
Oof. That's not pocket change.
No. That's life-changing money for so many people, ruining retirements, wiping out savings.
Yeah.
It's devastating.
Absolutely. And beyond just the total dollar amount,
Mm-hmm.
the report also flags how the threats themselves are changing, like ransomware.
Oh, yes, ransomware. Always scary.
It is. And while it might not be the biggest slice of the pie in terms of total money lost from individuals reporting,
Okay.
the FBI saw a 9% jump in ransomware complaints. And here's the worrying part. The focus is increasingly on critical infrastructure.
Critical infrastructure. So like power companies, hospitals.
Exactly. Things we all rely on every single day. Imagine a hospital system locked up or the power grid held hostage.
Okay, that's genuinely terrifying. That goes way beyond individual bank accounts.
It really does. The potential for, widespread chaos is immense.
So back to that $16.6 billion figure. You mentioned the reported losses. The FBI thinks the real number is actually higher, right?
Almost certainly, yes.
Yeah.
That $16.6 billion is probably just the floor.
Why? Why wouldn't people report it? If you lost thousands, wouldn't you call someone?
Well, it's complicated. There'd be a lot of shame involved. People feel embarrassed they got tricked.
Ah, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, or sometimes they might think, what's the point? I'm not getting my money back anyway.
Yeah.
Or they feel the process is too complex, so they just don't report it. Which means the official stats, as huge as they are likely undercounting the true scope of the problem. Like we're only seeing the bit of the iceberg above the water.
Wow. So this massive problem is likely even massiver.
Pretty much, yeah. It's a sobering thought.
Definitely. Okay, so if this is happening so much, who is getting hit the hardest? Does the report tell us about demographics? Age groups, maybe?
It does, and the numbers there are really quite striking. People over 60. They filed the most complaints by far, over 147,000 of them.
Okay, the most complaints. But what about the money lost?
That's where it gets really concerning. That same group, people over 60, lost a staggering $4.8 billion.
$4.8 billion, just that age group.
Just that group. That's more than a quarter of all the reported losses. And get this, that's a 43% increase for them compared to 2023.
43%. Wow. And what does that work out to per person on average for that group?
The average loss for someone over 60 who reported being scammed was around $83,000.
83,000. That's more than 4 times the overall average loss you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. 4 times the average. It's devastating. You think about retirement funds, life savings. Gone.
It really makes you wonder why. Is it maybe a bit more trust or less familiarity with some of the newer online tricks?
It could be a combination of factors, perhaps less inherent skepticism towards certain approaches, or maybe the scams are specifically designed to prey on concerns relevant to that age group.
And what about younger people?
Well, on the flip side, people under 20 reported the least in losses, about $22.5 million across roughly 18,000 complaints.
Okay, so a very different picture there.
Yeah, maybe different online habits, maybe less disposable income to lose, perhaps more digital native skepticism. Hard to say for sure, but the contrast is stark.
It really paints a picture, doesn't it?
Yeah,
And just to hammer home how much this is an online issue, the report says 83% of all these reported losses involve the internet or other tech.
precisely. This isn't primarily about someone tricking you face-to-face anymore. It's happening through our screens, our phones, our devices.
The internet has just changed the whole game for crime.
Fundamentally, the speed, the reach,
Yeah.
it's global now. So, okay, where's all this money actually going? Which types of scams are the big earners for the criminals?
Right. Let's break down the categories. What's number one?
Number one, and it's not even close, is investment scams. Over $6.5 billion lost there.
6.5 billion. And just from investment scams, what do those look like typically?
Think about promises of huge returns, super low risk. Often involves things like crypto, maybe foreign exchange, sometimes completely made-up companies or schemes. They hook people with a dream of getting rich quick.
Ah, the classic too good to be true pitch. Still works, clearly.
Sadly, yes, very effective.
Okay, what's runner-up in the loss category?
That would be compromised business emails or BEC scams. They accounted for over $2.7 billion in losses.
BEC. How do those work?
It's often quite clever, actually. Scammers might impersonate a CEO or maybe a trusted vendor the company works with. They send an email that looks legit, maybe asking for an urgent wire transfer or a change in payment details.
Ooh, I can see how that could fool someone, especially if they're busy.
Exactly. They prey on urgency and authority, targeting weaknesses in a company's internal payment processes. Surprisingly effective.
Okay, number three. I bet I know this one. Tech support scams. Those annoying pop-up.
You got it. Tech support scams. Still pulling in huge amounts, over $1.4 billion in reported losses.
Ugh. So that's the fake virus warning or the call from Microsoft?
Yep, that whole routine. They claim your computer's infected, try to get remote access.
And then steal your info or install actual malware?
Precisely. Or they charge you hundreds of dollars for fixing a non-existent problem. It's incredibly persistent.
It's amazing they're still so successful.
Okay, what else is high on the list? The report mentioned data breaches, too.
Yes, personal data breaches. These led to over $1.4 billion in losses as well. How does a data breach directly cause financial loss like that? Isn't it more about stolen info?
Well, think about it. When hackers steal masses of data names, addresses, social security numbers, credit card details, logins,
Yeah.
that stolen information becomes fuel for other scams. Identity theft, opening fake accounts, making fraudulent purchases. Or they use that personal info to make phishing attacks even more convincing and targeted.
Ah, okay. So the breach itself is bad, but it enables a whole lot of other financial crime down the line, like a domino effect.
Exactly. It's all interconnected. One vulnerability leads to many potential points of financial harm.
Makes sense. And then there are the romance scams. Those just feel particularly cruel.
They really are, exploiting emotion for financial gain. The report puts losses from romance scams at over $672 million.
Still a huge number. Building trust, sometimes for months, then asking for money.
Yeah, it's a horrible manipulation, preying on people's loneliness or desire for connection, truly insidious.
Just awful. Okay, quickly, did the report mention where these losses are happening most? Any geographic trends?
It did give a bit of a snapshot. California had the highest reported losses in total dollars.
Okay, big state, lots of tech. Maybe not surprising.
Right. And at the other end of the scale were places like Vermont and the Northern Mariana Islands with the fewest reported losses.
So it varies, but it's definitely happening everywhere.
Absolutely. It's a nationwide, really a global issue, just with some regional hotspots.
Gotcha. Now, when we talk about moving all this stolen money, billions of dollars,
Yeah.
how are they doing it? Is it still suitcases full of cash?
Huh. Not so much these days. According to the FBI report, one method really stands out above the rest.
Let me guess. Cryptocurrency.
Bingo. The vast majority of the funds lost, especially in those big investment scams, involved cryptocurrency.
Why? What makes crypto so attractive for scammers?
Well, there are a couple of key things the FBI points out. First, it can offer a greater degree of anonymity, or at least perceived anonymity, compared to using traditional banks. It makes tracing the money flow back to the actual criminals much harder.
Okay, harder to follow the money.
Right. And second, crypto transactions are borderless. They can move money across international lines really easily, which is perfect for these often global scam operations.
So fast, hard to trace, works internationally. Sounds like a scammer's dream tool.
Pretty much. The FBI's operations director, B. Chad Yarbrough, put it pretty bluntly. He said, quote, "Cryptocurrency has become an enticing means to cheat investors, launder proceeds, and engage in other illicit schemes."
Wow. Enticing means that's direct.
It tells you how seriously they view its role in facilitating these crimes. So while, yes, scammers still use wire transfers, gift cards, sometimes credit cards,
Sure.
it really seems like crypto has become the preferred method for moving large sums in many of these major online scams.
Good to know. Definitely something to be extra wary of, especially with unsolicited investment offers involving crypto.
Absolutely. Extreme caution is needed there.
Okay, so let's pull this all together. We've covered a lot of ground from this FBI report. What are the absolute key takeaways people should remember?
I'd say, number one, the sheer size of the problem.
Yeah.
That record, $16.6 billion loss figure, and the fact it jumped so much in just 1 year.
Right, it's huge and growing.
Two, investment scams are leading the pack in terms of dollar losses. That's where the biggest money is being made by criminals right now.
Okay, investment scams are top.
Three, cryptocurrency is playing a major role in how these criminals operate and move money. It's a key facilitator.
Got it. Crypto central.
And four, the deeply concerning trend of older adults, those over 60, being disproportionately impacted, facing the highest number of complaints and by far the largest financial losses per person.
Yeah, that $83,000 average loss for seniors is just chilling. And we
Right.
have to remember that's $16.6 billion, probably the low end.
Exactly. The underreporting issue means the real scale is likely much larger. It just underscores how deeply online crime affects our lives now.
It really does, which kind of leads to the big question, doesn't it, for everyone listening?
Yeah, it really makes you think, right? Given how sophisticated these scams are getting and how much we rely on digital everything, what can we actually do?
What proactive steps can we all take? Individually, maybe in our families, our communities, how do we get better at protecting ourselves and the people we care about in this constantly changing online world?
It's definitely something worth pondering, maybe doing a little research on your own. There aren't always easy answers.
No, there aren't. Well, thanks for taking this deep dive with us today. It's a critical topic for sure.